When you watch high-level tennis players play, they make the game look ridiculously easy. And the reason they can do that is because they have very high degrees of skill. They have high levels of coordination. That's what allows them to use the variety of different techniques to make the adjustments and hit the different types of shot with precision. So if you want to become a significantly better player and gain more control over all of your shots, then you should train and improve your coordination. And that's what I want to explain how to do in this video. So hopefully you find it helpful. If you do, it'd be awesome if you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it's much appreciated if you could do that as well. Most people think of skill level as something that you're either born with or you're not, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It is very possible to train and improve your skill and coordination. It's something I had to do myself and I still continue to do. I started playing when I was younger and I was okay. I kind of got to a low county level in England, but I had various different things that were holding me back. I had visual limitations that were affecting my ball tracking and things like that, but I also had issues to do with my coordination that were affecting my timing and affecting my ability to learn and implement techniques. And by using coordination, brain-based training, I was able to dramatically improve my level of coordination and become a much better player. Unfortunately, I actually had to stop playing right-handed, and I've now used this same process to become a relatively good player with my left hand. So it's something that's very possible to do. You just have to approach it systematically, and I have to explain a little bit about the brain in order for you to understand why and how this is going to work. Because it's our brains that create movements. So when you watch a tennis player moving around the court, doing all the effortless things they do, it's the brain that's sending signals to muscles in different parts of the body, telling the body how to move. So the simple version is we have a part of the brain that creates movement, and we have a part of the brain that coordinates movement. So the part of the brain that creates movement, it lives in the frontal lobe, and it's a specific area in the frontal lobe called the motor cortex, or the movement cortex. We have a part at the back of the brain called the cerebellum, which is responsible for coordinating movements. And when we create movements, what basically happens is the front part of the brain tells our body what to do, so it sends signals to our body telling it how to move. It also sends information to the back part, to the cerebellum, telling it the plan. And then the cerebellum's job is to check the quality of the movement. So as I hit my forehand or do whatever movement I'm trying to do, my body, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the joints report back to the cerebellum, report back to my brain, and then my cerebellum goes, okay, did we hit that forehand in the way that we want, or do we need to make adjustments? And then it talks to the frontal lobe, and between these parts of the brain, there's this communication, and that enables us to make high quality, skilled, accurate movements. Now, it breaks down a little bit more than that. If I'm swinging with my right arm, that information comes from the left side frontal lobe and tells my right arm what to do, but it's the right side cerebellum that coordinates that movement. So every time I'm swinging with my right arm, left frontal lobe, right cerebellum. And when you understand this, and you understand what these parts of the brain do, you can start to create training exercises in order to train and improve the function in these different parts of the brain. When we're training these parts of the brain, we have to be very intentional about what we're doing, because each area of the brain has a specific function. And there's actually slightly different parts within these brain areas that control different parts of the body. And obviously, if you think about a tennis stroke, it is a full body stroke dealing with both sides of the body. So we need to make sure that we're training the whole of the frontal lobe that deals with movement and the whole of the cerebellum that deals with coordination. If there are any parts of your body that you can't control properly, that means that in some way you're going to have to compensate when you hit your shots. So we need to make sure that the whole body is well coordinated in order to be as efficient as we can with our strokes. We also need to kind of think a little bit more deeply about how these brain areas work, because there are kind of two components to movement that you want to think about. There's an accuracy component and there's a rhythm and speed component, just like you've got with your shots. If you're hitting your backhand, you need to have accurate movements. You need to be able to control the precise angle of your racket face at contact. but there's also going to be a rhythm and speed. Sometimes it needs to be fast, sometimes it needs to be slower and more controlled. But this is kind of how our movements are organized within the brain as well. And when we put these pieces together, we can create structured training exercises to improve our level of coordination. So the basic way that we're going to do this is to try and make coordinated shapes at specific speeds with every different part of the body. So I can start with my right ankle, and I can try and make a circle with my right ankle, because a circle is a shape. My frontal lobe has to tell my body what to do. I'm trying to make a circular shape. The cerebellum then tries to correct that and go, okay, am I making a nice circular shape? And if the circle looks like this, the cerebellum is going to say, no, this is not a nice coordinated shape. So your job is to try and go, okay, can I make a smooth, controlled circle, keeping everything else still, going at a specific speed? I can do that on the right side. I can do that on the left side. I can then move up to different parts of the body. So I could do the same thing working on my hip. So I'm isolating my hip. Frontal lobe, can I make a controlled circle with my hip? Am I able to do that in both directions? Can I do that at a specific speed? Or when I try and do that, does my whole body move? Because my brain can't coordinate how to move the hip, so now the pelvis is getting involved and all these different other parts of the body are getting involved. Can I do that on the right side? Can I do that at the left side? Can I do it quickly? Can I do it slowly under control? Can I do the same thing at my shoulder blade? Can I make a controlled circle with my shoulder blade? Or when I do that, does my head start to move? Because I can't coordinate that movement. So we're giving the brain specific instructions. I'm saying, right, I want to make a controlled circle with my shoulder blade, keeping my head still. Now the frontal lobe has to work at that, and the cerebellum has to think about that and coordinate that. And this is why the focus is important, because I can be doing this and I could be, looking around or thinking about texting at the same time, and it's not going to achieve the same job because I've got specific coaching cues. Just like when you're trying to improve your technique, you have to think about specific things. Same thing for the coordination training. I am trying to keep my arm straight, I'm trying to keep my head still, I'm trying to make a circle with my shoulder blade, and I'm trying to do it at a specific speed. I can do the same thing with the shoulder joint itself. So rather than the shoulder blade, working on the actual shoulder joint. So can I make a circle that's slow? Can I do nice accurate circles that are quick? Because the shoulder is so important for everything that we do on court, can I do shoulder circles in different positions under control and at different speeds? Can I do the same thing for my spine? So do I have the ability to move and make coordinated circles with my thoracic spine? Can I make coordinated circles with my neck? Can I make coordinated circles with my pelvis? And all of these are kind of mini assessments and coordination training exercises, because if you can't coordinate these different parts of the body, that means that when you're hitting strokes, you have to compensate in some way. And if you can improve your control in any of these different parts in the body, it reduces and eliminates some of the things that you were compensating for, and it improves the quality of your stroke, and it allows you to develop more control, especially when you start to go in and work on the wrists and go, right, can I make a controlled circle with the wrist? Can I do controlled circles with my finger? Can I actually make all of these body parts move independently at different speeds? Because if you can, and if you work on that consistently, it allows you to dramatically change your level of coordination. Now, it's not a miracle cure. You don't do one thumb circle and instantly you've got Nadal's forehand. You have to be systematic about it. Just like all of the training, you start, you work on something, and then you make it progressively more difficult. Maybe by changing the speeds, maybe by working on a slightly different shape, maybe by altering different positions. But if you work on this consistently over time, it makes a very, very big difference. Okay, so hopefully that approach and process makes sense. If you have any questions about how to apply it or anything like that, leave them down in the comment section and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. If you would like more in-depth help with this style of training, I have a full program where I teach players how to systematically train and improve their coordination over the course of a year. It also teaches players how to train and improve vision and other skills that you need to play higher level tennis. So I'll place a link to a class that's going to teach you all about it up there, and I'll place a link to that down in the description so you can go through that class and learn more about it if you are interested. Okay, hopefully you have enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. If you did, like I said at the start, it'd be awesome if you'd give me a thumbs up. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it really helps me out and it's always much appreciated if you could do that as well.